Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Dad. Today I'm going to be talking about Ideanomics once more. I've covered this video for quite a while, so if you've been watching this one for a while, please make sure to subscribe to show your love for this channel, drop a like, and leave your notifications on. Now I'm going to go through due diligence quickly here as an update. I'm going to try to cover everything, so you don't need to cover or watch my previous videos, and then I'm going to go through technical analysis. So let's jump right into it. Ideanomics. So Ideanomics here, a lot of folks seem to forget that Ideanomics is not just related to EV or the Meg Center, but there's a lot more to this one. And I'm going to go with this one in a second. So DBOT is a market that serves issuers, investors, market makers, and brokers. And you can think about it as an OTC kind of service where you can actually get your assets listed as an OTC, and if you can't list them on NYSE and NASDAQ. And that is something to consider in mind. Now, Intelligenta, and that's something to keep in mind. This one here is an AI-driven SaaS and PaaS solutions provider for the financial industry. This kind of reminds me a little bit of PLTR. Liquify, which is using smart contracts to redefine ownership, which basically creates and tokenized smart contract templates for different asset classes, converting illiquid assets into digital tokens. Through its tokenization platform, illiquid assets can be traded on exchange, have financial ownership, and access global investors. And Logistorm, another one I want you to keep in mind, smart devices for manufacturing. And Logistorm improves efficiencies in industrial manufacturing and supply chains through IoT technology and data analytical capabilities. It's a part of a new wave of smart technology used to enhance manufacturing process. And then Solictrack, which is one of the things I want to really talk about today. They are really just working on zero emission, 100% battery powered, all electric tractors for agricultural and utility applications. The next one here is Timios. This one is an entire A to Z unparalleled real estate transaction experience, and that's that. I mean, there's nothing much to talk about this one. And now you have Triletric, which is basically an EV manufacturing in Malaysia. It works really on this kind of type of vehicles. I don't know what you call them, scooters or whatever they are, e-bikes, etc. So yeah, they work on that. And I want you to just keep in mind here in a second about autonomous electrical agricultural vehicles and utility vehicles. And I'll go in a second, be back and talk about this one after we dive a little bit into SEC filings. Before doing so, there's 3 events coming up. January 8th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ideanomics is to participate on panel number 2 for Force Wealth Roth Capital EV Symposium. And then you have Needham's 23rd Annual Growth Conference, January 11th, 15th at 2021 at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have the Clean Tech Forum in San Francisco at January 19th to 21, and they will participate in that at 1:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the next thing here is trying to look a little bit into the latest SEC filings. So, latest SEC filings shows that the MEG announces purchase agreement for 2,000 units for D1 BYD's custom electrical ride-hailing vehicles. Now, a lot of people have seen this one maybe as a good deal or maybe somewhat of a big deal, but I need to explain why this is a massive deal in my perspective. The MEG Medici Center, or Medici, whatever it's pronounced, enters into a purchase agreement for an initial 2,000 units model BYD D1. So the BYD D1 is the world's first custom-built all-electric car specifically for ride-hailing with smart technologies, safety and comfort features for both drivers and passengers. Through the DD app, passengers can hail this customized online car in multiple cities. And so this is a big deal. They're expected to be delivered in the first half of 2021. And when I'm saying it's a big deal, it's because a lot of people don't know who a DD Rider is. Now, the DD app here, DD Global, is basically the equivalent of a Chinese Uber. It has a few taps. It's just a few taps away in Australia, Japan, and selected countries of Latin America, and of course, it is also in China. So to use DD in China, you'll have to use the DD Greater China app. But this one here was able to beat off Uber in the Chinese market. So Uber China wasn't able to succeed compared to Didi. And that is something massive when you think about it. They are really putting in a deal with basically with Uber of China. It is very much comparable, and if this actually goes through and this is their success, there is more to come, and that is something very, very positive in the future of Ideanomics. Now, the next thing I want to cover is their basically termination for the payoff letter. That really goes on to Advantech, and what it really says here is that the company has now paid off by the company, and all obligations under the debt instruments are now terminated with this debtor. So less debt, that's amazing. And then you have $25 million, 4% convertible due in June 2021. That will mature on June 14, 2021 with a fixed conversion price of $1.93. That will show a bit of an impact on the balance sheet, but that's just to keep something way ahead in June 24th, 2021. Now, the big thing I want to talk about is the future of agriculture battery power. This article is a little bit old, but it's still every bit of as relevant. So the very important thing here to mention is this one is actually from 2 years ago. And look what it says. The dream of battery-powered tractors became a reality this summer when a limited number of rented model E100 variants went to work on farms and municipalities in Europe. Capable of operating for up to 5 hours on a charge, the 67 horsepower variant draws off a 650 volt lithium-ion battery. Plus, the battery can be rechargeable up to 80% in just 40 minutes. And it goes on to talk a bit more about basically how much the money was going on and different opportunities coming up. And that is around 2 years ago. I expect more in that sense when it comes in towards basically Ideanomics progression. The next things here we'll see regarding this article, which basically says that they believe in 100% in electric tractors. It really goes on with electrification, artificial intelligence, and automation and autonomy. And that is where I want to go back to the company portfolio. Think about this. Electric tractors for agricultural and utility application. Powered by AI-driven SaaS and PaaS solutions provider for the financial industry, made by Logistorm for smart devices for manufacturing. Some way these three must link in that sense, and I do expect that we might actually be seeing some kind of a game changer on SolidTrack. And it is definitely some of the future. Now, one thing to consider here. Right now, it takes 10 units of fossil energy to put 1 unit of food. I'm zooming here just if you would like to read this. There you go. To put 1 unit of food of energy on American tables. So 10 units of fossil energy to put 1 unit of food on American tables. That is a lot. So what is the solution? Well, solution is to substitute diesel for the tractors with EVs. And they don't think that the battery technology is quite there yet. He says they're going to be fully demonstrated that they have the same capabilities and conventional diesel-powered tractors. And definitely there is a lot of potential there. This was actually way back in March. So that's even before there was a deal there. So another barrier might be the cost. Hoy says the price of tractors need to be affordable to the average farmer, but SolidTrack currently sells at $45,000, about a third of the price higher than a current diesel model. Tractors like SolidTracks do have the potential to become popular in a niche markets such as vineyards. Hoy adds, as the work isn't as machine labor intensive. Now, I do think in some states like California, there you go, they mentioned California, this will actually have a future. I do think that they do need to improve their quality there to go even beyond. And I do think that Ideanomics has what it takes. Now, the next thing I want to cover here is quickly their market cap. Their market cap is here around $500 million. I try to go on just quickly statistics on Yahoo. I wasn't able to find price over sale or price over book. But the total cash here is 27.61, which is higher than the total debt of 20.12. So technically they can pay off their entire debt with the cash on hand. Now, the next thing we're looking at here is their financials. Their financials total revenue per quarter has been improving, especially with the gross profit. I just want to highlight that. The next thing we're looking at is their balance sheet. The balance sheet looks quite solid when you're looking year over year, but they've made a lot of changes. In the total assets, we're sitting at 138 million compared to a total debt of 20.1 million. And so, is it worth in terms of the entire market cap? I don't have the values, but if the values on Ideanomics Finviz is correct, the price over sales is 28.91, which is a lot higher. It's around 10 times higher than the average of SP 500. Now, the price over book is 7.1, which is around 2 to 3 times higher than SP 500. But this one is trading highly on intrinsic value. When I say intrinsic value, is basically the future sales that comes with this one and what people feel this one will be in a few years. Now, the next thing I want to cover is a technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure you subscribe. And if you'd like to join our Discord, you can feel free to find that link in the description below. It's basically a chat room where we discuss tradings all day. No pumping allowed in there, but it's a wholesome place. Now, let's jump right into technical analysis. Now, on a 1 week perspective, moving averages look incredibly bullish. 172 is above 142, 10 SMA is above 30 EMA, 172 above 142, and it's also the trading action zone. So if it does drop below 142, we're in trouble, but if it does fall between those two lines, 172 and 142, we expect a bounce back. 107 is the 50 SMA and the price is above there. IDEX has been above 50 for a while, so we're not going to really bother about this one. We're going to brush it off. 1% has been a bit stable, so we're brushing that off as well. Momentum has been strong, above a 1 or above 90 cents, and that is good. It is bullish. MACD is a little bit interesting because it was almost going to be dropping and then it jumped back up on the week of the 20th, and then now it's a little bit stabilizing. It looks a little bit weird and doesn't have really a pull, but it really gives you more of a little bit of a danger sign. Things look a lot interesting on the 1 day. So it looks like a positive reversal was attempted on the 28th, and then buy the rumor, sell the news, dipped it down. And what we see here is something positive though. On a candle pattern, it looks like each candle is getting smaller and smaller, and we're getting a doji star. That is a bullish pattern. Now, MACD here is going negative, and that is a little bit dangerous. One of two things can happen. Either it accumulates very similar to this region here, or it just bumps back up, or it just completely crashes. But I do think it probably will accumulate or still bounce back, and this negative MACD will still fix itself. ADX doesn't show us anything. Momentum looks like it's barely clinching above the 0, but it's still positive. And willing %R looks like it's curving up, so that's good. Moving averages here, things are interested. It's above 50 SMA and above the 200 SMA bullish. 10 SMA is above 30 EMA, and it's actually in the trading action zone. Trading action zones is where positive reversals are likely. It's between 208 and 193 currently, and this is a very sensitive part because if it does drop below 193, in all technicalities, it misses its window to see a positive reversal, but we don't see that as always, but basically that is one of your safe havens. Next, 2 hours perspective, things look interesting on the moving averages on MACD. The rest is all sloppy. MACD looks like it's been negative on 1, 2, 3 days, and it's actually attempting a positive reversal. So we might actually see on a 2 hour perspective a positive reversal on the 2 hour perspective on the MACD. Moving averages are completely bearish. 30 EMA is above 10 SMA, and it's below the 50 SMA. Now, if it does escape the 209, it escapes the bearish trading action zone where negative reversals are likely, so that would be quite of an interesting thing to see and might actually see a little bit of a run. Now, the moving average band, it's expected to trade between 223 in the top, 203 in the middle, and 183 in the bottom. Now, the next thing is stochastic fast and stochastic slow. Both are showing there is a potential for another run with a warning of a massive pullback that can easily, or basically a warning saying there is a high risk, there is a lot of risk, but there is a lot of potential here. And it can actually bounce really nicely. And so that's basically where it's saying it's curving a little bit up, but one of the indicators on each are pointing downwards. Next thing is the Fibonacci retracements and supports and resistances. So currently the support sits at 199 exactly, followed by 134 and 28 cents. Significant resistances 252, 305, 381, and 477. Now the next thing we want to cover here is basically covering, let me just refresh this one quickly. There we go. We're going to cover the supports and resistances that are significant to us. We're going to do this quickly on a 1 day perspective and zoom in here. We're going to use a price line action. So significant support currently sits at $1.96. Below there, we're looking all the way down to $1.81, and then $1.68, and then $1.66, and then $1.54. Then we're looking down to $1.39, and then a very significant one of $1.22. Significant resistances, when we're looking at it, is the $2 for sure is one, but 207 after that. And then we're looking at 221, and then we're looking at 238, we're looking at 260, and then jumping up to 298, and then a significant one at 320. And then above there, things get a lot easier. Now, Ed, what do you think about this ticker? I do definitely think in terms of longer investments when I'm talking about optimization of electrical tractors, when we're looking into utilities or agricultural, there's definitely a future there, especially with the different horizontal integration platforms they have. Now, in terms of short term, I do think this one can actually see a really nice push upwards. Now, as long as it does stay above the $1.66 or dollar, I would say 75, I do definitely think that it might actually see another bounce, but it's a really high risk and it's really trading on intrinsic value. A lot of folks think this one's just EV, but I like to think about this one as an investment fund because they do invest in all different other companies that have potential. I am still bullish on this one a little. Definitely, if you're going on from 80 cents, I really hope you captured the 470, 475, and now could you consider buying rather than just holding. But if you're still holding, I definitely think if you were to invest, it's a high investment risk, but if it does pull through with everything they're doing, it will give you massive rewards. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.